first tick is lower. The markets opened with a cut of closer around 120 points, but we bounced back a little bit from the day's low. Who's losing out? Wipro, one of the big losers. Well, that's down closer around 3.5–4% as we speak. The numbers didn't look good. The guidance is well not impressive at all. Metal stocks are getting a bit of a knock. You have the dollar index that is stronger overnight. That normally doesn't spell very, very good times for metal. So you have Hindalco as well as Tata Steel. Both of them are a little bit lower. Bajaj Finance, yesterday it was one of the top losers on the Nifty. I think the street is a little bit skittish on their NIMs because earlier they were guiding for around 40 basis points cut. Now, in fact, they're talking about a 60 to 70 basis points cut. So that stock, in fact, has pulled back closer another percent on. What's doing well, though? Bajaj Auto, that's up more than 2.5%. Very, very good set of numbers. I think the EBITDA number for the quarter was closer around 2,000 crores. The street likes that. And IndusInd Bank as well is up closer around 2%. Add to the list, the outperformer from the IT pack is LTIMindtree. Rima alerted us earlier as well. So that's opened up with a gain of around 2%. So we're still down closer around 110 points odd. The bulls will want to bounce from somewhere around these levels. Otherwise, maybe, in fact, we drift back to around the 19,500 and move even lower. Rima, I'll leave the broader markets to you, but just one stock that I wanted to highlight, which we here at CNBC TV 18 were trying to highlight this earlier as well about the low float companies. MMTC, in the first minute itself, it's down close to around 10%. So from yesterday's high, it's corrected more than 20%. And there are pending sell orders as well. In the first minute itself, there are close to around 8 lakh shares that have got traded.
Even STC is under pressure. ITI has lost ground. So pull up all these, PSUs with low float, and you can see the sell-off intensifying. A quick word on the earnings reaction from overnight. Shoppers Stop is down 4.5%. There was a margin decline. That's weighing on the stock. Oracle Finance margins below 40% after a very long time. We spoke about it. The stock is lower by 3.5%. Astral's numbers look good. Margin expansion, profits up 90%, but the stock has taken a beating, opening up with a cut of 2.5%. So perhaps the high valuations weighing. Dabur, there was that negative news that Mangalam spoke about. Perhaps it's hair relaxant causing some cancer. This is all alleged. There is lawsuits, and Dabur has seen a bit of a hit. Metropolis and Dr. Lal Path Labs. This is on the back of the Goldman Sachs downgrade, and these stocks are lower by 1.5–2%. On the gaining side, you've got an ICICI Lombard reacting positively to its numbers. Persistent numbers look good, record high deal wins, and the stock is higher by 2%. Polycab, yesterday the stock fell after reporting good numbers, but today it's bounced back with a gain of close to about 1–1.5%. And Coforge is post numbers, they've held their guidance for the full year, and the stock is mildly higher. IFL Securities rallied hard yesterday post numbers, and that stock is opened up with another 2.5% gain.
Okay, well, the market's down 130, and we are basically at about 19,550 on the index. That's about 0.7% lower. So that's the start that we have on our hands. Take a look at the Nifty Bank as well, which has been the weaker of the two indices clearly. That's starting 0.6% lower at about 43,590 or so. So, the next support there comes in only at about the August lows, as we were saying. That's about 43,600. We are at 43,600, beg your pardon. Yeah, we are at 43,600. So straight off to that level. And will we see some support here? That's the question. Actually, on both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, that is the question from here out. Maybe a few more names before we go any further. Market breadth is clearly negative. A little over 2 stocks down to 1 stock which is higher. Suzlon crossed 30 rupees yesterday. It's middling, not very much happening, but it's middling. Bandhan Bank is clearly down 2.6%. Wipro, we mentioned, 3% lower. There is Tata Steel, which is coming up with about a 2% cut. Hindalco is down to this metal stocks. Astral, by themselves, the numbers were okay, but compared to consensus, the numbers missed 1900, 1910 on Astral. There's Syngene, which is down about 2.5%. Yesterday, both Biocon and Syngene saw big moves. Ircon is down about 2%. And I think we're coming up with more names. Shriram Finance is another well-tracked name, which is down about 1.8% or so as we begin today's session. The clear winner now is Bajaj Auto. And you'll hear from the Bajaj management in the next 10 minutes. The stock's up 4%, 53.50 on the stock as we begin another session. Remember, nuclear software is up 10%. Almost 14.50. It's limit up, I think, locked up on very strong volumes, nuclear software. And I think Havells is the other one on the back of what Polycab has done. Havells is up to 2.5% this morning at about 1375 or so. So, yeah, I mean, a fair bit coming up to start
Havells
the day
reports
with.
numbers today.
Yes.
Havells reports numbers. And, I mean, the rub-off perhaps will be there from what we've seen from Polycab. Max Healthcare is up 2, Cyient is up 3%. So, yeah, there are more and more names joining the list. But, it's a down start, 100 plus points, 19,545.